issue is that you're not reading. The directions say, state the domain and the range of each graph. So I did 1 point for domain, 1 point for range. Determine if the relation is a function. So I did 1 point for function, not a function. And then my last point was you deciding the one-to-one onto neither or both. So, to be honest, most people got their points for the hard stuff. Most people got their point for function, not a function, onto one-to-one, neither or both. Most people did not get their points for domain and range. They did not list it. Do they have to list it? No. Can they be a lazy man and somehow just show me D is this, R is this, and be lazy with it? Absolutely. But if Jonathan doesn't in any way ID domain and range, I don't know that he knows what that is. So it's teeny tiny, and most people lost a lot of points. Now, number 6, since the graph was so hard to read, I didn't take off the 2 points for domain and range on that one. But most people lost 2 points for 5, 6, and 7, simply because they didn't read directions and they didn't put domain and range. There went a lot of points. Okay, so those were 4 points each, and understandably so. The next ones were 2 points each. So 1 point for you tried to evaluate, 2nd point for you got the right number when you evaluated. Most people got 8, 9, and 10, but they missed number 11. So everywhere you saw an X, you were supposed to put 2a. So you're supposed to have 2a squared and end up with 4a squared, and a bunch of other stuff after that. Most people didn't do that. I suggest they look back over their notes. We even talked about like G of cupcake and plugging in cupcake everywhere you saw the word X. So you've done it, you just, I don't know, blew that. Bless your heart. 12 and 13, again, Caitlin can read. I don't know if she chose not to read or she was in a hurry. I actually don't think it was Caitlin. Most people wrote the word yes or no, and then when it said explain, if it's not, they didn't. They just put no on number 13. Okay, that's great. If you don't explain why it's a no, I can't give you both your points. You have to explain why it's not a no. Okay, flip to the back. Are there any questions about any of the front? Flip to the back. On the back. Most people put number 14 as a no. And then some people said the correct answer is to why it's not a no. And then some people said an incorrect answer of it's a no because there is no why. Well, you call me Miss Compton, but my name is also Leah. I don't go by that with you, but you know in real life I go by either. Leah Compton. I go by any of the names that represent me. In the same way, f of x and y are the same thing. So if on number 14 you put no because there is no y, bless your heart, f of x is y. They're the same person. Same person. So number 14 tricked a bunch of people. Don't know why. Guess you're not used to the notation. We got to get it together. 16, 17, and 18 involve putting stuff in standard form. Most people got 16 or 17. If they got counted off 1 point, then they probably just had a sign error. However, a lot of people missed number 18. A lot of people. So for a free point, can you remind me, when we were in standard form, what's the rule with A?
That can't be negative.
And it can't be a fraction. Who said fraction first? I thought so. So 2 and 4 can have a point. Can't be negative, can't be a fraction. Then how come I get to Matthew's paper, and Matthew did not do this, but we'll pretend. I get to Matthew's paper, and for A, for number 18, he had negative 7 over 12. He had a negative fraction. It can't be negative, it can't be a fraction. Instead, his first step should have been to get rid of that fraction by multiplying everyone by that denominator. If you multiply everybody by 12, I swear life got a lot easier. But for some reason, a lot of people didn't, and they left A was negative 7 over 12, breaking my heart. Breaking my heart. And then 19 and 20, you should have gotten all your points for. But some people decided not to do them, didn't graph them, didn't do nothing, lost both points. I did those 2 points each. Or even worse, not even worse. The worst is to leave it blank. That is the worst thing to do in life. But I did have some who had a graph that was like this. That's bad pen color. Like this. We're supposed to be, it says the directions that there's going to be an x-intercept and a y-intercept. So for sure, it's going to be a line that's tilted. Why you had a line like that, I don't know. And then second of all, it's not a function. When I grade Caitlin's graphs, if we're being completely honest, and I think I said this the other day, but I'll remind Caitlin again before this test on Thursday. When I grade Caitlin's graph, I just look to see if she graphed the line correctly. If she has an intercept at 8 and she's counted up 2 and over 1, instead of finding the X and Y intercept like the directions suggest, I don't get mad at her paper. I only actually look at Caitlin's graphing work if Caitlin's messed up on the graph. As long as her graph is legit, I don't even look at her work. I got other stuff to do, and so does she. So if she did not actually find the X and Y intercept and she just plotted the line like usual, I'm not even going to notice. I just look to see, did she graph correctly? Did she graph the line? Maybe she didn't follow directions on how to graph, but I can let that go. Okay, so it ended up being out of 50 points, so some people did not so high. If you honestly think you could do corrections, you could do awesome, you just need more time, then I suggest you turn yours back in and come see me 0 period tomorrow. But to be honest, we all have this important test Thursday. Test is going in the 60, this only went in the 30, so unless you're super motivated and want to come fix this, you probably should just make your peace with it and move on. Because, every week I give you 25 points for your group answering questions. Caitlin's group answered questions all week. They got their 27 out of 25 or their 23 out of 25. You get a 30% gimme grade from me every week anyway. And you're going to have another 30% gimme grade for did you do the study guide. So just because you bombed this quiz doesn't mean it killed your grade. But if you would like to come fix it, then turn your quiz back in and come see me 0 period tomorrow. Okay, otherwise, I have some in here who never finished the quiz, never took the quiz. So I cannot post the key on Google Classroom. It's not possible right now. It's not happening. But if Jonathan really wants to know, because he just is dying to know if 5 was 1 to 1 on to neither or both, I'm going to have my key up here. When I get done rambling, you want to come look at it, I totally understand. Totally understand. Okay, I think that's all I had to say about that. I have some who finally finished their Unit 1 test, and I need to show them that grade in a little while. Let's go ahead and go over this math workshop. There's a little bit of notes we need to do today so I can let you work. Okay. Do I have someone who wants to volunteer for 1A? Our math workshop. Yes, ma'am.
It's gonna go right through the origin and towards the right.
Okay, and then so what's the slope?
1/1.
Yeah. Okay, so really this is the line y equals 1x plus 0. I put my intercept at 0. I'm going up 1 over 1. And I can also go down 1 over 1, and I can keep going and do it for so many. But do you have to know? Just a couple points will do. Jessica, your group can have a point for you answering that. And everyone in the room should have known A. And it's okay if you were having a blood moment on the rest. We'll figure it out. We're doing this to get us ready for the rest of Chapter 2, what's happening after our tests on Thursday, for the next stuff. It says that each of these graphs is a parent graph. Does anyone know what parent graphs have in common? Well, let me rephrase the question. Does anyone know what point parent graphs have in common? I have Grace. It is 0. They all have that origin in common. So every single graph we're going to do today is going to go through the origin in this math workshop. Parent graphs go through the origin. So I can go ahead and put my point if you'd like. We're going to do B, C, and D for sure. Maybe E. Okay, if Jonathan was trying to get ahead and get his group some extra points, he would go ahead and get number 2 done. And if he was listening now, I swear I've said some of the words already, and I'll keep saying some of the words he can fill in for number 2. Or he can just look them up on the internet when he gets home. Okay, B is y equals x squared. That graph is called a parabola. Does anyone know what letter of the alphabet that should look like? A U, and table 2 gets another point. It should look like the letter U. It's called a parabola. It is a quadratic function. Okay, why does it look like a U? Because 1 squared is 1. Negative 1 squared, also 1. 2 squared is 4. Well, negative 2 squared is still positive 4. And if I had room, I would go over 3 up 9, but sadly our specific grid does not leave enough room for that, so we're going to call it a day at that. When you connect the dots, it should make a U. I have a problem in life. Somehow mine always end up looking more V-ish than U-ish than they should. It's supposed to look like a U. Not supposed to be ugly, but it is today. So that is our quadratic function. Then we get to C, and it does look like that, and that's how your grid gets a point. Landon drew it in the air. Does anyone know the name of number 3? Well, then I'm not going to break all your hearts and tell you. You need to know it by tomorrow. I'll give you a hint, though. We said it last week. We had it. It was an example in function, not a function, and we named it then. So I know I told you the name last week. You've just forgotten. It does look like an arm. Landon kept drawing like an arm looking thing in the air. And the reason is because the square root of 1 is 1. What's the square root of 4? What's the square root of 4? 2. So I'm going to go over 4 up 2. And if I had room, I'd go over 9 up 3 because the square root of 9 is 3. So it does end up looking like an arm in the first quadrant. We talked about this one the other day, a couple math workshops ago. You'll have to figure out his name. I think I said it other class periods. If you were being super motivated, you'd watch the other YouTubes, I guess. Then we get to D, and it's got some bars going on, and it is, yes dear? Woo, show it again. Yes, but I'm going to do it like that. Okay. And it has a name, too, involving those bars. Hint, hint, wink, wink, figure that out. It looks like the letter V, because the absolute value of 1 is 1. Absolute value of 2 is 2. But hey, absolute value of negative 1 is 1. Absolute value of negative 2 is 2. And so we could keep on going. And it would be beautiful, too. And it ends up making a lovely V. It's very similar to a linear function, except everybody has to be positive. Because absolute values make everyone positive. Oh, please let me connect the dots well today. Okay, we are in a hurry because I've done rambled on too long about the quiz. So we'll save E and number 2 until tomorrow. Get out your notes from Friday. You were supposed to do page 15 for homework. You were supposed to do page 15 for homework. Let me say that one last time. Page 15, 1 through 12. You were supposed to have done it for homework. But you didn't. You didn't. If you did, awesome. When I get done rambling, come show it to me. We'll go ahead and get you the points for it and get that in I now. If you didn't know, because you forgot, because God bless you, you just forgot, it's okay for now. But Braden knows during the during the test on Thursday, what do I normally do? Type in grades. So if he's not made sure I've seen this homework by Thursday, he's going to get the 0 on Thursday. He wants to make sure I've seen these 12 by Thursday. So it's okay if he can't show me today, but by Thursday he needs to have shown me these. Okay. Our last page of notes before our test on Thursday is the page after this. Yes, dear. Yes, dear. It's the page after this. Basically, long story short, you and I love slope-intercept. What is slope-intercept? It is MX plus B, Travis and Evergreen groups. Can I have a point? It is Y equals MX plus B. You and I love that. When it's in that form, we know how to graph lickety-split. Sad day is that life is not always in this form. Sometimes they give it to you in standard form. Sometimes they give it to you in something we're going to talk about today, which is point-slope form. And sometimes, bless your heart, they don't tell you. They just say, here's some stuff. You do what you need to do, boo. And so you're going to have to do what you need to do to get to slope-intercept. Okay. Now, we have been going fast, and even though Sarah should know point-slope, in case she doesn't, I am going to write it on the board on Thursday. But if Sarah doesn't understand how to use it, seeing a formula on the board will not help her at all. Now, your teacher may have taught you a different form. I need to add that. I've seen different people do point slope different ways. I'm going to do it the way my teacher taught me, but if you learn something different and you're getting the right answers, roll with it. Okay, I learned y2 minus y1 equals m x2 minus x1. Okay, and we're literally going to use this form when we're given a point and we're given a slope. On what problem are we given a point and given a slope? Number 1 and number 3. So table 2 and 3 get a point. We're given a point, we're given a slope. It's used when you think point, slope. I see a slope, I see a point, we're going to use point, slope. Okay, so you know me, I like to write the formula in. y2 minus y1 equals m x2 minus x1. For my m, I know it's negative 5. I'm going to plug this in for x1 and y1. So I'm going to have x2 minus x1 is negative 3. I'm going to have y2 minus, but darn y1 it's negative 8. So this problem is already off to a tricky start. Why is that? Because of the two negatives. Yes. Because of the negative 3, negative 8. By God, if they had just given us the 0.38, life would have been so much easier. But no, it had to be negative 3, negative 8. So we end up having two negatives, which make a positive. Are there any questions about the green before we try to clean this up? Okay, well this is ugly. So we're going to make it y2 plus 8 and negative 5 x2 plus 3. But let's be honest, we're going to get real lazy from here on out. We're not going to even bother to write the little tiny 2's. We don't need that. They were to help us to begin with, to make sure we were plugging people in the right spots. Now they're just getting tedious and we're getting lazy. This paint line is beautiful. Great. Can we graph that? No. We're going to have to do some things. What's one thing I need to do? I've got to distribute. Every group can have a point. I've got to distribute. Y plus 8 equals negative 5x minus 15. And I'm not done. You know I got to get rid of that 8. What is the final answer?
Y equals negative 5x minus 7.
Travis, you had something different? Minus 23. Brady, you can have your point. Okay, so we subtracted 8 from both sides. Negative 15 minus 8. We end up with y equals negative 5x minus 23. Are there any questions of how we got that green box? So basically, if I'm summarizing our life stories, this is just our life story when it comes to graphing linear junk. We deal with it however they give it. And we do whatever we got to do to get it in y equals mx plus b. Because now that we've got it there, Andrew knows negative 23 is where I put my intercept. I know how to count the slope of negative 5. Okay, Allison was right. We're going to go to number 3 next if there are no questions. Number 3. Yes, dear. Oh, I am. Maybe we should have started on number 3. It has less negatives. You good, dear? Okay. On number 3, I wrote the formula again because I'm weird. Do you have to keep writing the formula? No, it just helps me. Then it's plug and chug. So I knew y1 was negative 8, so I plugged in a negative 8. I knew my slope was negative 2/3. I knew my x1 was 6, so I did minus 6. So when I clean it up, I stop writing little tiny subscripts. I say y plus 8 equals negative 2/3 x minus 6. But if I'd really wanted to clean it up, that green line, I could have gone ahead and distributed. If you did go ahead and distribute, what did you get with your second term? And it's, yes, that's what I wanted to hear. Okay, but we're not done. Yes, we distributed that negative 2/3. And as a gentle reminder, if DJ hates fractions, if he hates them and he can't do negative 2/3 times negative 6 in his head, for the love, on the calculator, alpha y equals, we'll do the fraction. You can multiply it and get this beautiful answer without crying at night. Your final answer on this one would be what? Yes, and you can have a point. Subtract 8 from both sides. 4 minus 8 is negative 4. Perfect. Okay, are there any questions about this? Genuinely, we've just been given a new form. Point, slope is when I know how to use it. I'm given a point, I'm given a slope. And now I'm going to make DJ's whole day, because I'm going to tell him once he has this down to put his pencil down on number 2. Put it down. We're going to do it, but I'm going to show you my complicated way first. And you don't need to write my complicated way, unless you just enjoy writing complicated things. Okay, so number 2. We're given 2 points. Do we know the slope? No. We'll come back to how normal people would do it in just a second. But since today was all about point slope, I do want to prove a point to you that if you want to be complicated and you want to be extra, you can be. That would make so much more sense. No, I'm going to make life complicated. I'm going to say y2 is 1 minus negative 2 equals m. y2 minus y1. Oh, y1 was 3 minus 3. Jeez Louise, miscontent. 1 minus 3 equals m. x2 is 0 minus negative 2. I end up getting negative 2 equals m times 2. So negative 2 equals 2m. So negative 1 equals m. Do we normally do math like this? Oh, we can. You understood what I did. It made sense. But that's not normally how we find slope. What do we normally use to find slope?
That's what I did.
Yeah, this way's fine. It works just great. But you and I are used to this here in blue. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You can pick your pencil back up and write this one. Most of us would prefer the blue. When you do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, you still end up with negative 1. We end up with the same slope either way. So if Travis likes point slope and he wants to point slope it out, he can. But he didn't have to. So Miss Compton was extra for no reason, basically. Okay. To use point slope, we need a point, we need a slope. You and I have a problem. What's our problem? Do we not have a point? We have points. We have 2. We have 2. So, guess what? Table 1, you can have a point. You were helping. Yeah.
Can we choose which?
We get to choose which point. Which point looks easier? Yeah, I'm going to choose 0, 1 because that looks easiest. If Corbin wants to pick the other point, and, at the end of the day, when we get to y equals mx plus b, we're going to have the same answer. I pick it whichever one has smaller numbers and less negatives. That makes me lazy, I know, but it is what it is. I try to be smart. Okay, so it's y2 minus y1 equals m, x2 minus x1. We know our m is negative 1. Our x1 is 0. Our y1 is 1. Is there anyone confused about the green? Well, then let's clean it up a bit. I'm going to write y minus 1 equals negative 1, x minus 0. What's x minus 0? Just x. What's negative 1 times x? So, really, let's be honest, Braden's probably not even going to write those two lines. He realized here it was going to be y minus 1 equals negative x. He adds 1 to both sides, and his final answer is negative x plus 1. If Braden needs to be extra and show all this extra work, he sure can. But I really think in his mind he knew x minus 0 was just x. Negative 1 times x is negative x. I bet he could have jumped to negative x before now. Are there any questions about number 2? Okay, and then number 4 is on you. First person to tell me the slope will get their group point. First person to tell me the equation will get their group point. Ma'am, what's the slope? And your group gets a point. Negative 2. Now, how she knew that so quickly, I don't know. She had it down, but I could even write it now. The slope for number 4 is negative 2, and her group got a point for that, but there's still another point available. Can you put it in point slope and then give me, you've rearranged it, it's now in slope intercept, what did you get as your answer? Mayo,
Y equals negative 2.
your group gets the point. Okay, was anyone rebellious and they picked the point negative 2 comma 7? You were rebellious and you picked negative 2, 7, and you got the same answer? You bring here. Okay, here's what I did. Bless you. I'll bring it back in a second. Here's what I did. I agree with the n was negative 2. I plugged in 3, negative 3. So my x minus 3, x minus negative 3. So that ended up being y2 plus 3. And when I distributed, life worked out great. And I ended up at negative 2x plus 3. I'm not explaining my work well, but it's on the screen. Are there any questions about how I got negative 2x plus 3? Okay, I have some still running, so we'll give them a second. Okay, I'm lazy, and 3, negative 3 seem like smaller numbers than negative 2 comma 7. But Jessica is not my twin, thank God. And she picked negative 2 comma 7. And when she plugged in negative 2 comma 7, and she distributed and she cleaned it up, she still ended up with negative 2x plus 3. So it doesn't matter which point Xavier chooses. If you have a point, you have a slope, you plug it in point slope, you should get the same answer for slope intercept. Okay, are there any questions about this before we make our life a lot easier today? Because Abby Gray's already looked and saw there were 4 more on the back and she about cried. Okay. Make me happy. Oh, thank God. First period made me cry, so I'm glad. Well, not literally cry, but I wanted to. Inside I cried. Parallel lines have the same slope. We normally do the symbol as like 2 sideways L's. Perpendicular lines have the negative reciprocal slope. There's the symbol for perpendicular. It looks like hangman's noose. So if lines are parallel and they have the same slope, if one has a slope of 5, the other has a slope of 5. But if lines are perpendicular and one has a slope of 5, the other has a slope of, it's the negative reciprocal, so negative 1/10. You've got to flip it and change the sign. Okay, so I think, or I'm going to pretend at least, that Xavier has point slope down. So on the back 4, we're just going to figure out the slopes. and we have a point. So if Xavier felt like it, he could do point slope, but we're going to be lazy and just say the slope. Okay, flip to the back. Easy points happening right now, people. Easy points. Easy points. I've got my point. I need my slope. What is the slope that's going to be parallel to that given line?
What's the slope?
Not you. Anyone but table 2. Anyone but table 2. Table 2 is ranking on points. How many of y'all got like 10? Yeah.
It's our job.
Parallel.
Parallel.
Parallel. Parallel. Parallel lines have the blank slope, the same slope. So what number should you tell me right now? No, thank you, Lyric. So this one is -4. Parallel lines have the same slope, so it's -4. I'm going to give table 5 a chance because they've been way too quiet and they've got to get them some points. Number 6. Bless it, we need to rearrange some things. Let's subtract x. Let's divide by -6. We'll end up with positive 1/6x minus 2/3. No, minus 1/3. Geez Louise. 2 over 6, which is really 1 over 3. 1/6x minus 1 over 3. This is why you don't get the right pen right here. Okay, so our slope is 1/6, and we want something that's perpendicular to that. So what is the slope of our line? Negative what? Oh, did you flip it? It's the negative reciprocal. Which is just, yeah, so it's just -6. Perfect, and your group can have a point. Okay, table 6, here's your chance. Your group has been very quiet. Number 7 says, it passes through, they give us a point, and it's supposed to be perpendicular to that line. So what is the slope of our line that is perpendicular to -5x plus 1? It is. So you flip it, and you change the sign, so it is positive 1/5, and your group gets a point. It was -5 over 1. We flipped it, and we changed the sign, so we got positive 1 over 5. Good. Table 6, how many points do y'all have? Table 4, how many points do y'all have? Table 5, how many points do y'all have? 4. Table 1?
It's our worst day. It's our worst day that we've ever had today. I mean, we've been off figure out.
Okay, so table 6 or table 1, either one, answer for the last question, passes through this point, it's parallel to this line. So what is our slope? And table 1 gets the point. Okay. Now, if we were not in a hurry, would we actually go through, and since we have a point and since we have a slope, put it in point slope? Yes. But we are in a hurry and we are out of time in class. Okay. So Caitlin has things she could work on. Did she do her homework over the weekend? Shouldn't she start her study guide since she only has one class read tomorrow and it's a long thing and it's due Thursday? Yeah. But and did she pass her checkpoint from last week? Because some still did not, and then you got to get that together. But if you have all that together and your life is going great, there is an extra checkpoint that we're not going to have time for. If Braden can take this and get it passed by the time we take the test on Thursday, I will give him 5 extra points on his test. It's on the stool if you'd like it. Yes, dear. Okay.
So I can see what
You're missing, yeah.
you
Yes. Let me see who's got their homework done, David, and then I'll print that out for you.
Okay, because I know I need to get my life together.
There it is.
Hey, girl.
Braden, homework, flip.
A little bit, but not, I'm feeling way better than I was.
Flip.
What?
Dre, I'm watching.
that you can.
Yeah. My grandma gave me some pills.
Thank you,
They
Jessica.
still gonna make me cough. And so I'm gonna cough some, but like, I'm not gonna cough to the point where, I mean, I'm still gonna cough sometimes, but like, I'm not. But at this point, more than anything, I'm just coughing to get up the congestion.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Mason, look at you. I was very Are you ready?
Okay, so now.
Okay, the 2-3 checkpoints, just a reminder, Mason, Lyric, Dahlia, Xavier, obviously, Sarah, Jonathan, that weren't quite 100% done with the checkpoint from last week. Last year.
So let me come to you so I can see what I need to do. Let me come to you so I can see what I need to do in my life.
You know you're about to lose your group points if you're doing that standing thing. You know it makes me think someone's about to attack me, okay? Cool. As long as we're on the same page. If she's getting her stuff together, she's fine. But I got like a group of boarders in the back.